Hello, and welcome to our inaugural broadcast. This is Notorious Zen, the publication. We have a lot in store for you. We've got 6 different sub-publications hosted by, I'm Jensig, also known as Ian.
Tiffanni.
And so, welcome. Why don't you go first and introduce yourself, Tiffany?
I am such a prolific note taker, I'm sorry. Obviously.
I'm kind of winging it.
Kind of. That's a personality difference. I am obviously trans, so I'm not going to hide that. I'm going to just be upfront. And I've been on and off again with it, so that's a journey we'll all get to experience together. And I tend to be open-minded and changing my thoughts if they prove to be incorrect. And so I hope to learn as we do this podcast and grow and change, so that's just me. And a little bit about you.
Well, again, I'm Jensig, which is an adaptation of my old name. I'm also trans. I've been on HRT for about a year. I'm also into a lot of other things. I'm a writer. I love movies. I grew up in a house with a film major who our Christmas videos were like lights, camera, action. It was like being in a Cecil B. DeMille movie or something. So I'm a big movie fanatic and very nitpicky about them. And my 2 favorite movies in the universe are Hidden Fortress and The Evil Dead. That should tell you a lot about me right there if you've ever seen or heard of either one of those movies. I am rather argumentative and contrarian. I am a writer. I started out blogging about things I disagreed with about feminism back before I realized I was trans. And then suddenly I realized I was trans, and it was like, can I really write about feminism? Eventually the answer was yes, I can, because being trans doesn't mean I stopped stopped being female. So I absolutely still have an interest in feminist issues, and yeah, I like to argue a lot. That's me.
A tough act to follow, actually. Very
I
tough.
talk too much, too. I joke, I'm a long-form writer. I'm also a long-form speaker.
They will attest that my typing and my writing is sometimes fragmented in sentences and sometimes hard to understand, but hopefully I can conjoin enough words together to make them, an interesting and insightful commentary. Other things that I think would be worth a mention is me, just got into baseball this year. And it's been quite the journey of learning and growing with the sport as the season has progressed. Started watching a college female softball team, and then my interest rolled into from there.
It was the Alabama Crimson Tide softball team. I just wanted to give them a shout out. Thank you for getting my girl here into baseball. Sorry, go on.
No,
You finish.
go ahead.
I interrupt a lot. That's another thing about me. I have been a huge Mets fan most of my life. I grew up on Long Island. You can't tell from my voice, but that's okay. Yeah, and so I've been a huge Mets fan all my life, so it's been an absolute joy sitting and watching. No, it's been an absolute roller coaster, but overall it's been a joy. I just sit and watch baseball with Tiffany here, because we have gotten into some really massive conversations about, she learned quick, and baseball is changing, and baseball has changed a lot since I was a kid. So yeah, there's a lot for us there to talk about. One of our channels is called Baseball Bitches.
Indeed. And I thought the movie Major League was a documentary about baseball, but it didn't. What it did teach me is, not as relevant as I thought it was. But, it's all right. That was entertainment, which brings me into our other point is another one of our channels is about entertainment. Two different kinds of entertainment. The one where we where we had
we've got a couple of entertainment channels. I see what she's saying.
And one of them we will discuss movies that we've seen, movies that are coming up, and just our take on the movies.
Well, not just movies, books, TV, basically anything, media, except video games, because that will be in a separate channel with our...
Surprise Roll Initiative.
With that.
And that's probably where I will be the most talkative and very much harder to finish and interrupt someone else's train of speaking.
To clarify, we're talking about tabletop RPGs. I've been playing Dungeons and Dragons since before First Edition, back in the basic box set. She's been playing since Second Edition. She is my official GM because I like GMing and I hate it at the same time.
And I tend to be a forever GM. I am, always looking to try new games and see how it goes. So, like Ian here has said, I've played since Second Edition. I think my first character was in 1994, so I was 11.
I was about 8 when I started. Mine was in 1983, and my mom was my first GM.
My friend's uncle was my first GM, DM, and that was D&D 2nd Edition. I still remember the horrors of THAC0 back when you had to... But anyway, that's not the point of this. There's no reminiscing about rules that no longer exist. Quick, save versus death.
Right?
Indeed. And, well, that'll be your go now.
Okay, so we covered the movie channel, we covered the other entertainment channel we haven't covered yet. Ever since they first began, in 2000, I have been a fan of Survivor, The Amazing Race, and Big Brother. In fact, I remember Big Brother USA from back when the audience still voted people out. That was only in season 1, and we're Americans. We can't have nice things.
Mm.
So yeah, I've gotten her into that. She watched Big Brother 22 and Survivor 40 and The Amazing Race 32 with me. One of the things that kind of sucked about those being her first 2 seasons of Survivor and Big Brother is that they were returning player seasons, so she didn't really get a taste of what it was like to be, to see new people come into the game. So we decided to go on a journey back through prior Survivor seasons, and we watched the first 3 so far: Borneo and Australia.
Africa?
Well, yeah, but I was pointing to you because of Australia. We didn't finish Australia. She hated Australia.
Yeah, we didn't go all the way through.
She hated the cast.
But Mark the Chicken's season is my favorite season.
We started Marquesas, and before we could even get into Boston Rob's first Blindside, I told her about Mark the Chicken, because we have this video gamers. We mentioned that, right? We have this silly game on our phone on our phones where we have to grow these chicken farms. And I told her that, there was actually a survivor that survived that was a chicken in season 32, Ko-Rong, for any of you who are, Survivor fans. And, she absolutely had to see that, so we skipped ahead.
Yes, I did. I wonder if he'll come back, because he didn't have any votes and he got 4th.
And they do second chance seasons. In fact, I hear through the grapevine that season 44 is going to be a second chance season. So yeah, maybe Mark will come back and play.
That'd be awesome. Wait, how old can chickens live? Because he might be old. Well, do they age in like dog years?
Ooh, yeah, that would kind of
He might be an old chicken by a bit, and
if Rudy could do it, Mark can do it.
that's true. That man was awesome.
That man was awesome. R.I.P. Rudy.
Indeed.
Well, that covers almost all of our channels.
Oh, but the one that I was also thought you were going to also lead off on is your real passion for things.
That is a very good point.
And then we also have one more that...
We have 2 more channels to tell you about in our little podcast empire here. We both have an interest in spirituality. I'm a religious studies major. I will probably at some point mention my school, but I won't right now because I just won't. We tend to get into some very heavy conversations about philosophy and metaphysics and neuropsychology and psychology in general. Let me mention the literature, dear. Dang it, and you threw me off course. So what do you have to say about our metaphysical discussions?
The one that I was thinking about is the conversation we had just as tying to another channel when we were talking about like cyberpunk, and the one channel and the one conversation we had about Skynet and how intelligent and how intelligence can transcend things, and how if it could change timelines, multiple timelines, could it then perceive dimensions and other possibilities to build a more perfect version of itself, realizing that it needs to keep humanity around to improve itself, to make itself exist in the first place, so each time it's built the first time, it's better than the original design. And it cements itself in the course of human history to ensure that it's the inevitable conclusion.
She's summing up a 2-hour conversation in like 2 minutes, so there was a lot to this. But yeah, that's the kind of mind benders we go on. And we have a whole sub-channel just for that.
Indeed.
And finally, last but absolutely not least, and probably someplace where you're going to see us commenting a lot, is we both mentioned we're trans. Yeah, we both mentioned we're trans, and there's a lot going on in the trans world right now, some of which is super cringe. Some of it's really cool.
It is.
Like, I probably wouldn't have been able to come out if the atmosphere right now wasn't what it is for trans. I probably wouldn't have realized, but at the same time, part of the reason that I didn't realize is because of some of the things that people are saying about being trans and what it means and how you have to feel, and it turned into that's why I was in my early 40s before I realized that I was.
And that's the thing about us, is that we are not trans right activists, we're not trans supremacists. We are going to be hopefully discussing such matters openly and frankly to hopefully promote such conversations and others without such a fanatical devotion to what is being put out there, that is that trans experience, or how we as trans people are supposed to view the world, that we are able to have that open dialogue, that saliency that is so missing in other conversations because they don't want to face hard truths and realities about being trans, which is ultimately what we hope to accomplish and are the bulk of what we'll probably end up discussing here.
Basically, yeah, the narrative has been controlled by a certain mindset for too long, and it's time that more of us that are trans speak out against that mindset. And that's kind of what motivated us to do this.
very much so. This is probably because we have these conversations. Ian will see something on Twitter. I'll read something in the news, and it'll prompt like a 2.5 hour conversation about this whole thing. And then at the end, we're thinking, why didn't we record it and share it with others? And now, here we are finally actually acting on putting it to others and hopefully encouraging further dialogue that's sorely lacking in some areas.
So I hope you find our conversations about these things as interesting as we do. I hope you learn and grow with us, and I hope we all have a lot of fun together. It's not all going to be like news and activism, so...
Indeed. It's been, a very, hopefully, enlightening experience about a little bit about us both, and we'll grow as people. Hopefully you're along with us for this journey we are embarking on, and I have really poor vision, obviously, as you can see, and I didn't know if that said 119 or not, and I was trying to keep it to see if we can make it to our first 20 minutes, but
it's 116.
Those numbers are way too similar with bad vision. Oh well, I tried.
I'm sure we can find something to talk about for 4 more minutes.
I'm sure we could. I mean, so many things we could discuss. The one thing, though, that jumps to my mind is just how poorly, unfortunately, with the Mets, their game was postponed due to rain today, and
it's August 10th, by the way.
Yes. And
actually, technically, it's August 11th because it's after midnight, but yeah, we're talking about the August 10th game.
Yes.
They got postponed, but they're sucking right now, and this is not good because they were in first place in their division. So, yeah, we're a little grieving. But it could be worse. She's a Pirates fan.
They have the room for growth, just like everyone does. We all can grow, and hopefully the Pirates grow as a team, but they are not the very bottom. They are on, the steps going downstairs. But
it could be worse. They could be the Diamondbacks.
They're not chilling in the rec room yet.
They're not chilling, exactly. That is a very good way of putting it.
So hopefully the Mets can pull it together. I met due to association. I met vicariously, I guess. And you'll also hear us talk about Metaphysics, which is our celebratory drink.
No, it's not celebratory. Well, it's our rally drink.
It's our rally drink, which we try to drink at the beginning, hopefully middle to keep them going or boost them, and at the end to finish it off. It doesn't always work, unfortunately, because they're, on a 5-loss streak at this point?
Yeah, but then again, okay, so the Metaphysics is the funfetti flavor of coffee creamer. And yeah, that's because I haven't been drinking coffee lately because it's kind of been upsetting my stomach, so 1 or 2 sips and I'm just not supporting my team enough. And since we all know that baseball is a superstitious sport.
We have come to that conclusion. It definitely is, because there have been way too many coincidences for me, and I am very detailed on experience, and let me tell you, there have been some games where it's like we really need this to happen, and we drink Metaphysics, and it happens, and I'm just like, it happened 2 or 3 times in a row, and I'm just like, I can't deny these things that are in front of me for this long and not change my mind that it is truly superstitious. I learned quickly of this thing called, is it being due or owed?
Yes.
Yes, dude. Due. And that's a thing, and I've seen it be a thing, and I've also seen them go from being due to not being due, like some of the Mets are in these hitting slumps.
It's funny because Gary, Keith, and Ron, I don't know if you caught it earlier when there actually was a game going on, we're talking about how most of those guys are due right now. And why hasn't it happened yet? They were literally complaining about what I call the law of due, because it's a law in baseball.
Well, I guess the Mets chose to break those laws. Now, is there a due police? Hey, you have to use your due points, or you will lose them by this point in the season, and you have to start over.
If there was a due police, don't you think that the Diamondbacks would have used them by now? In fairness to the pirates, they're trying to assemble their pieces and build a team right now. So, if they suck, it's because they haven't, put the whole puzzle together yet. But I don't know what's up with the D-backs, other than I'm glad to see they finally made it over 300 a few weeks ago.
Indeed.
Barely, but they're there.
And I am a very prolific note taker. So, I can't do directions. So that me looking down is not me not paying attention. It's me looking at notes, and as I need to, see, I'm so bad at this. Writing things so I can have talking points for later. So, I'm not listening. Making sure I have talking points so when I look up, and I try to look people in the eyes. And I do look people in the eyes. My eyes might not look like I'm looking you in the face, but I promise you I am looking you in the face. My eyes have minds of their own. So, it is.
And also we're getting used to how to keep ourselves in the camera. Especially since you might have noticed this camera is not the greatest. It is, I think, about a decade old. So
he tries very hard. He does.
He does. But
he's the little camera that could.
He is. But we are going to have to upgrade our camera at some point. As we do future, we'll probably go buy one tomorrow, to be quite honest.
So the camera from Lower Decks, little peanut cabinet?
No, it was Peanut Hamper.
Peanut Hamper? That's right. Our camera's Peanut Hamper at this point.
Our camera is Peanut Hamper, yes. Which reminds me, we have not said it today.
Glory to Gorzo. Heads need not arise.
Heads need not arise.
And there was one from Solar Opposites about Jesse, but I cannot remember it for the life of me.
Yeah, we'll have to go back and watch that.
Oh, no.
Once again, we're going to talk about TV shows and stuff. We've just gotten into, we just finished the first season. We binge watched it
Lower Decks.
A day or two.
Lower Decks.
Star Trek Lower Decks. We really liked that, and especially being a huge Survivor fan,
which we just started, by the way.
Yeah, and knowing that John Cochran and David Wright are involved heavily in that show, in writing and producing, and that was really exciting, double exciting for me on that level. So as a result, I wound up having to sit her down once again. We're not even done with Coron yet. Like I said, we already interrupted Marquesas, and we've already seen the first episode of South Pacific.
Which I did look it up. It is Samoa, I think, or near there.
Oh, cool.
Because it was supposed to be Tonga, but there was issues with that.
Yeah.
And then there was
Tonga.
Sorry.
One of my favorite places. I've never been there. I will make it there one day. I will make it there, Tonga. You'll see. But, yeah, for some reason on our lit thing, James A. Michener wrote this fiction novel called The Drifters, and he spends about 2 pages talking about this place called Tonga. From these 2 pages, I learned apparently a lot about Tonga. I got every question in Double Jeopardy right, which scared the crap out of me. Not that I played it, not that I was there as a contestant, but if I was, I would have cleaned up on that. Anyway, yeah, so Tonga's one of my weird favorite places.
And the thing is, touching back with the Cambodia episode, because my first episode, the first season I watched was Winners at War. I know who wins that season. Unfortunately, I don't know the details, but from where it finished to where we were, but I do know Mark the Chicken finished first. And I'm sorry, fourth. He should have been first. And Michelle, who finished third in Winners at War, finished first in the season in Koran.
And I want to take this opportunity to say, because I know I'm going to say it at some point anyway, that Michelle at one point during Winners at War was kind of upset about, because a lot of people criticized her win as, not deserving and bitter jury. And without giving any spoilers to Tiffany here, while the other two of the final three were absolutely deserving of being sitting there. To say that Michelle didn't deserve it, especially rewatching that season and seeing her performance. I mean, she came in third out of 20 prior winners. That, I hope, tells her something about her gameplay. Even if, she came in third and not second or first. I mean, she beat out 17 other winners and never went to the Exile Island? Extinction Island. So, I mean, Michelle, you were awesome twice, and you absolutely deserved your win. And that's considering that, well, if I say the next thing I was going to say, I'll be spoiling. So we'll get back to you with that.
And we also started but did not finish the first season of Big Brother with that strange introduction and how young Julie Chen looks.
And the fact that there's like a commentator on their activity, and yeah, it's so funny watching the first season of American Big Brother.
21 years.
What's our favorite movie?
I have The Ritual.
The Ritual. We've seen this movie together like,
I don't know, 1 million times
easily. It's background noise every week. Instead of listening to music.
The number of hours we've watched that movie probably could take the manned flight to the moon. Maybe not come back, but you could definitely get to the moon.
Probably.
On the bright side, I can't read those numbers. It's too far away.
Yeah.
We've passed
126. Yes.
Oh, hey, we're back. We're back at the whole 4 minutes to go thing, and we end up talking, and then it'll be 136, then 146, and it'll be like, well, who needed sleep?
Well, no, because I think maybe we should work on actually wrapping it up.
Okay.
And reminding people that, yeah, we're Notorious Zen. We've got 6, and maybe more as we grow, channels of content that we plan on producing where we talk about different things, some of which we talked about just now.
Yeah, that sounds like that's been a good, I don't know, frequency. We might hopefully try to do 1 or 2 a week, maybe, and see how we can handle that.
Check us out on notoriouszen.substack.com.
Well, this is your domain. I have no idea what these URLs are.
Okay, she's at Tiffany Rose on Twitter.
I didn't even know that.
Tiffanni Rose, ROSE. I am at Zen Jenny Asensio. That's at ZenNyAsencio. And, yeah, we're Notorious Zen. Very nice to meet you all.
Nice to meet all of you as well. Have a great day.
Bye.